it's such a fundamental thing that you can go completely mad if you try to think of why people who are supposed to be knowledgeable can't understand basic things. Randy, it is not about respect to the speaker. It is not about respect to the president. It is about the rule of law. It is not about respect. The Supreme Court has ruled against executive actions. He gave the instance of Domelefo. In that case, the Supreme Court ruled against the president. Is that showing disrespect to the president?
They waited. They waited for the ruling to be of no immediate effect.
No, the ruling against the president. No president in this country can remove the Auditor General by that ruling.
Subsequently.
Is it showing disrespect to the presidency?
They should have ruled earlier.
Look, the Supreme Court of Ghana ruled against the Parliament of Ghana in the question of the vetting of ministers. Is that showing disrespect to the Parliament? The Speaker at that time,
Dear Vanna,
obeyed. Was that showing that when they ruled that ministers have to be vetted? As to how Parliament conducts the vetting, that's Parliament's business. But they have to come and subject themselves to parliamentary approval. That's what the Supreme Court ruled. Is that disrespect to Justice Annan?
Was it against a decision of the Speaker? That ruling, was it against a decision?
Yeah, because they said that they won't they call themselves holdover ministers.
That was a decision of the executive.
Yeah, but the Parliament didn't insist that the people have to come. Parliament aligned itself with the executive. The Supreme Court ruled that Parliament, you have to have, as to how you do it is your matter, but you have to let them come and subject themselves to approval. Was that disrespect to Justice Annan? Or was that disrespect to the Parliament? And these are basic things. You can't understand. When they ruled that Rawlings can't celebrate 35th July with public funds, and Rawlings obeyed, was that disrespect to Rawlings? It's about the rule of law. When the rule of law applies, Bagman says he's being disrespected. Bagman says he's being disrespected. And you have his collaborators.
Right.
Telling us the same.
As Speaker Bagman said that.
Look,
he hasn't said that.
Sami Okujeto.
Nana, he hasn't said that. Don't put words in his mouth.
This thing that he said, you want me to read?
He hasn't said that he has been disrespected.
And what has he said?
He's not said that.
What has he said?
He was speaking about Parliament.
As Parliament has government. The order is directed at him. Now, please, write it down.
Gentlemen, ask permission. When you are coming for my documents, you should ask for it. Don't just grab it like that. Gentlemen, don't do it.
You have 100 documents.
Be a gentleman.
If I'm to ask permission for
it says that your conduct is unruly.
Totally unruly. Be a gentleman.
Okay, please, can I?
Yes, you can have it. Yeah, that's what gentlemen do.
I would like you to look for the A where we're talking about respect and read it for us. Now, right, this constitution that Samuel Okujeto is quoting to us, as if it's something we don't understand. And sovereignty, fine. It says that the sovereignty of Ghana resides in the people of Ghana.
Yes.
Who has disputed this? Has the Supreme Court disputed this?
No.
So what is all this tirade about? It also says that so this sovereignty, this is what the Constitution says. Now, who enforces that sovereignty? This Constitution gives that enforcement to the Supreme Court. Because right under what he read, it says enforcement, right under the sovereignty of the Constitution. And then right under it says
there's no sovereignty of the Constitution, please. Don't be creating your
supremacy of the Constitution.
Yes. There's no sovereignty of Constitution.
No, it is this Constitution that vests sovereignty in the people of Ghana, isn't it? The Constitution. This is what gives sovereignty. That it says that
there's no sovereignty of Constitution.
How do you enforce this provision?
This Constitution.
This provision of the Constitution. The Supreme Court. It's because right under it says enforcement of the Constitution. It's given to the Supreme Court. It's not given to Speaker Bagbe. It's not given to the President. It's given to the Supreme Court. If you can't understand this, then there's no basis for any debate. Because you put your head in the sand.
Okay.
Now, we are being told nobody stops Speaker Okoye. And so what? If the person affected by Speaker Okoye didn't see the need to seek interpretation, how does that stop somebody else? How does that stop somebody else? How does that stop somebody else? So this business of nobody stopped Okoye, and so if somebody is going to a Supreme Court, it means they are stopping back being disrespect. Now, and then it says Speaker Bagbin is being undermined. This people, these collaborators of
it's been totally unruly this morning.
Then they say that they are giving instances of unruliness. And what is he say? He said Domelevo. Domelevo has the president said, I will not take into account the Supreme Court's ruling. No.
Has Bagbin said that? Has Bagbin said that?
This business about a rubber stamp parliament that Bagbin is talking about and his collaborators are coming to, what has that got to do with the Supreme Court's ruling? Rubber stamp parliament. What does it mean? The things that Bagbin read, if I'm to take them one by one, you will find that there's absolutely no merit in any single sentence of what Bagbin read. If I'm to take them one by one. And then you have to say freedom of speech and proceedings in parliament cannot be questioned. Has anybody stopped Bagbin or any MP from exercising their freedom of speech on the floor? This is a matter about an interpretation of provisions of the Constitution. It's not about freedom of speech. If you can't understand this, then what can you understand? What? It is about freedom of speech. Has anybody said you can't say this in Parliament? You can say it. Nobody will stop you.
Why were you trying to stop the Speaker from delivering his ruling?
Who was stopping? The Supreme Court was stopping the Speaker.
Akomea market, which led to all of these processes being returned. You heard me read the Speaker's letter to the Registrar of the Supreme Court.
We are talking about the Supreme Court. We are talking about Akomea market. Do you want me to give you the instances?
No, but what you're referring to was exactly the example he gave.
Yeah.
When he
Which
said
example?
that the Speaker was prevented.
Yes.
There was an attempt
Prevented.
to
There was an
prevent him
attempt,
from
yes,
delivering
his ruling.
I'm
Because
saying-
the Speaker said, in 2 days' time,
listen.
I will rule on their
But
240
that's what
application.
Sami said.
Ask
If
for-
you are responding to
As
it,
for heckling of the Speaker,
It was not heckling.
heckling of the Speaker.
This was going as far as even defying court.
If I am to give you instances of
This is not heckling.
minority leader Bagbin against Speaker Alajete, we won't live here.
We are not talking about heckling.
We are talking about the Supreme Court ruling. You are talking
We are
about.
talking about
heckling.
abusing the judicial
How
process
can-
to prevent Parliament from doing its work. That's what happened.
Abusing the judicial process.
Yes.
How does going to court to seek interpretation amount to an abuse?
How did they?
Randy.
How did they try
The process of
to
service.
serve the processes? The violation of Article 117 and the Chief Justice's own practice directive. That is what we are talking about.
If you say that the court bailiff did not conduct the service of the writ properly, it's an issue we can examine. What has that got to do with the power of the Supreme Court to interpret the
In fact, to the extent that
You wanted to
to
prevent
the
the
extent
ruling.
that in the ruling, the Supreme Court was mindful
Yeah.
to speak about the issue of the service
Yeah.
and to give us a position on it.
Yeah.
Then it becomes an issue.
Yeah, but even what the Supreme Court say about the service?
He said that as far as we're concerned, it was properly served. And the CJ went ahead. She was the one who read the ruling. So I won't say the CJ's ruling, it was the court.
Yeah.
They went ahead to actually tell us why they agreed that the service was proper. And she said something to the effect that the Speaker might have misinterpreted column 1 of her circular.
And the Speaker disagrees. That
in fact, we have even done an examination of the circular here
yeah.
on this program.
Yeah. So let's say that the service was not done properly. I don't have a quarrel with that. What does that got to do with the ruling of the Supreme Court?
Well, if you're not served properly, there even cannot be a ruling.
Did Bagby, in his writ against the Supreme Court,
Yes.
say that he was not aware of the matter in court because he wasn't?
Yes, he raised it.
Yes,
That's
he
how
raised
come
it.
the ruling referred to it.
Yeah, he raised
That's
it.
how come the
referred
Supreme
to it.
Court had to say that,
Yeah.
as far as we were concerned, the service was proper.
If Bagby disagrees, or anybody else, with the ruling of the Supreme Court, that does not give you the right to disobey. I may disagree with something you said, but you are in the chair,
Yes,
even on this small table.
yes, it's not a small table.
Okay.
Yes.
Even on this glass table.
It's almost 24 years old. Respect it.
Yeah.
This table.
Yes,
Wow,
almost
this
23
table.
years
The
old.
program is 24. The table is not 24.
The table represents the program.
And what do you represent?
The heart and soul of the show.
Of the show.
It's my creation.
Is that the table represents the show?
You brought it into being.
It symbolizes the show.
So what do you symbolize?
It symbolizes
What do you
the
do?
heart and
You are the
soul.
founder.
The heart and soul.
Let's give you that. There's no problem. Chief, I'm saying that if you even disagree with the processes,
Yes.
you may even disagree with the empaneling,
Yes.
you have the right. But you cannot disobey the orders of the Supreme Court. Otherwise, this whole thing, even in Parliament, when Bagbin gives a ruling, and then somebody gets up and says, Mr. Speaker Bagbin, this ruling, I think you've read the standing orders wrongly, so I won't agree. What will happen? Even because everybody,
The standing orders prescribe how you should go about your
yes,
disagreement.
yes, and the law prescribes how you go about your disagreement with the Supreme Court.
Yes.
So I don't understand this attitude of Speaker Bagby.
What has he done wrong?
I mean, what is the basis
What
for
has
all
he
of this
hasn't-
attack?
He can't communicate his disagreement. Are you saying he cannot communicate?
No, you can,
Yes.
but you have to obey the Supreme
Has he
Court.
disobeyed?
He hasn't obeyed it.
How has he disobeyed? How has he disobeyed?
You get your own people.
How has
They
he
are saying that Bagbin hasn't told us. So as for us, we are going to sit on the right side.
So they are waiting for the proper forum.
He's had a forum on 2 occasions. I've told you that.
So
I've demonstrated that
why
to you
would
already.
if they say the status quo should remain?
Yes.
And we are told. Me, I've never been to
You
Parliament.
understand status quo?
I've
Because
never.
everything should.
No, I've
sit
never
there.
been to Parliament.
Yeah.
Both of you. Now, the Speaker takes a decision. Somebody goes to court, and we are told that once a decision is made, it is reversed through a decision. Now, come to Parliament.
Yeah.
Let what the decision of the Speaker was prevail. And let the Speaker communicate
Simple
what the
matter.
Supreme Court has said and the effect it will have.
Simple.
How difficult
I
is
am
this?
saying
Simple
if the Speaker intends to communicate the Supreme Court's ruling,
Yes.
he's had 2 opportunities. There's a Parliament there. He is presiding. There's a quorum for business. He had every opportunity to communicate the Supreme Court's ruling.
So then people was waiting for that before
He
they
has
went.
every opportunity.
Okay.
He cannot say he was denied the opportunity because somebody was not in Parliament. There was a properly constituted Parliament. More than one third was there for the quorum to conduct business.
So yesterday,
How did he announce?
Honorable Kofi Adams
One
says
second.
that-
How did he announce
yes.
the what do you call the Senate DA?
So
it was before
so
Parliament.
Honorable Kofi Adams says that for yesterday, the Speaker adjourned Senate dying because there was no business before the House.
Yeah.
There was no business.
No business at all.
He said that's why.
Yeah.
He said the 22nd one
the-
had to do with
the-
quorum
yeah.
for decision.
The business committee didn't meet.
No,
No.
That's what I've been alluding to all this while.
Yeah. That was
Why,
not
why
meeting of
didn't the
business
business committee meet?
Right.
They didn't meet.
Have you been here? We discussed it.
They didn't
We
meet.
said that
Now-
Yesterday's adjournment was
Dr.
because there was no
Tufosi
business.
called his colleagues on the other side. They ignored him. The business committee meeting.
Who calls the business committee meeting?
You should tell us. You have all the
Who
experience.
calls the business committee meeting?
Majority leader. Majority leader chairs it.
Who calls the business committee meeting?
The business committee
Majority leader.
is chaired by the by the leader of government business. That's the terminology used. Leader of government business. The leader of government business can be from minority, can be from
Is that
from
the
majority.
reason why Dr. Atufosin said he called?
Yes, he called. Yes,
So Atufosin called a meeting.
he called them. That what's happening? We are about to
And said the
have the
decision has
meeting.
not
The
been
business committee hasn't met. Yeah.
So Randy, let's get off the playground. These are serious issues.
Yes.
We are talking about not NPP, NDC. We are talking about the rule of law. We are talking about the architecture of our democracy. The architecture of our democracy is pinned on the Supreme Court's resolution of disputes. That is what this whole democracy rests. Otherwise, the president can do anything he or she likes. Today, you think you are there, so you are blasting the Supreme Court. Tomorrow, somebody will use some power against you, and that's where you realize what the rule of law means.